Hi there, hope you're all doing well. This week I went with another of my Spartans for Halo Flashpoint. This one, however, looks a bit more sinister for some reason. Not intentionally though, it just shows off how colour schemes really change the mood of the mini. But before I go into any of that, let's get the undersuit done with the usual treatment of lead grey for the midtone over the black primer. While getting the midtone on the undersuit, let's get the YouTuber bits out of the way. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord using a link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbying on, or just hang out and chat. I hope you enjoyed the video and find it useful. Instead of using my normal bright grey here, I tried Uniform Grey from Army Painter. This goes around all of the edges and some of the parts that will be in the light. The colour is fairly bright still, but not as bright as I normally go, which I hope things pull everything together, especially once the wash goes on in the end. The undersuit is now finished off, so let's move on to the armour plates. These all get a once over with AK Interactive's black. I've never used this paint before, so I wanted to see how it turns out, hoping that it has a bit of a satin finish to make it different from the primer. This isn't really the case though, it dries very matte and actually looks a lot like the Army Painter primer that I used. This is not the end of the world however, as I now have the paint on my palette to mix the blue-grey into and start making those midtones. I keep this mix dark still as the armour needs to look black. I get a little bit of a bluish tint with this. After all of the midtone is finished off, I mixed in a little more blue-grey into that black and began edge highlighting, which takes a fair bit of time, but I feel it really helps break up the panels and separates the undersuit from them. For some parts you probably could push the highlights a little bit more, but I didn't want to risk pushing that colour into a more dark blue look. You can leave the armour here if you want, just a black armour, however I want some more visual interest on these parts, so I've grabbed Sanguine Scarlet and added a couple of stripes over the panel just to break them up. After the red base coat has had a couple of coats, I used Hellspawn red and went over the centre of these parts. I was originally going to do edge highlights on these parts, but I decided against that as the highlights in the centre instead. There is no particular reason for this, I just thought it would look better. The armour is now complete. I can move on to some of these smaller details, starting off with royal purple over the casing of the pulse carbine. Although this covers fairly well, I still gave it 2 coats to get a nice and vibrant look over the black primer, which I then followed up with alien purple over the bulk again, just leaving that darker purple in the shadowed parts and the recesses where the panels meet. Now the casing is finished off, I get the centre with Surcoat Silver. Since I had the silver out, I went with this over the visor as well. I was originally going to do the visor gold, but silver works out and I have it in my palette already. After waiting a while for the silver to dry, I grabbed dark tone wash and went over the silver and the undersuit parts. The undersuit really wasn't necessary, it dulls down the highlight a little, but it also adds a little satin finish to it which helps differentiate it from the armour and the suits. Now it's time to move on to the base, and since I found my scabbard brown again, I gave the base a once over with this, including the base rim as I like how the brown base rim looks on these bases. The highlight this time is done with Vallejo's leather brown, giving the base a little more of a khaki look, at least on the parts that aren't covered in tufts in the end. And that brings the Mark VII Spartan to an end. I may have overdone the tufts a little bit, but he's just standing in a grassy patch on this planet. I like how the armour came out as well. The wash on the undersuit really helped finish it off and makes the armour look a little bit more matte than it is. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You'll also come hang out, chat and share what you have been working on Discord using the link in the description. While you're in the description, if you want to pick up Halo Flashpoint or just some painting supplies, there are a couple of affiliate links in there for you. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more content. Most importantly though, be kind to each other.